Hello, everyone, and finally, welcome back to our Sunday normal, our Sunday regular. It has been some time, but we are here. I am just sharing the stream with a few people just to make sure that they don't miss out. This one is definitely like a big catch up on. There I am. Hello. I think for both of us, right? So what I've been doing, what I've been up to, and also hearing from you all as well. Hold on, still sending out a few more links here. And I think we're good. Okay. How's everybody been? Good to see everybody. I'm going to eat and talk at the same time. We got a few pieces of content lined up today from my South Africa trip, which I'm very excited to share with you all. And it's a little windy here. I hope that the weather holds up, but it looks nice. You can see from here. Actually, that looks kind of dark, but I would fix the camera, but it's been the sun has been fluctuating in between the clouds, so I think I'm gonna leave it there for now. We'll see how it goes. I know it's a little bit dark, but the sun will probably come out again in a few. So don't pay that too much attention for right now. I'm sure it's going to get brighter in a second. And yeah, like I was saying before, today's stream is definitely more of giving you everybody an update on my South Africa trip, which I was in. Which is why I haven't been uploading and why I haven't been doing the live streams. But if you were keeping up with the live streams before the holidays, you would have already known that I wasn't going to be here for a bit. But nonetheless, I just want to keep everybody who's in the stream up to date, and we are going to be doing this for the foreseeable future as far as every Sunday. And I don't know, I don't have any trips or anything like that planned for the next few months, and I plan on being here for the most part, and of course getting some great high quality content out specifically for the podcast. Have a lot of amazing things planned for this year, which I'm excited to share with you, and have some really awesome guests. Some have been lined up, some are aspirational, but we definitely want to take this channel to the next level this year. We are also, or should I say, I have done some hiring in the last week, so the team is slowly growing and hopefully looking to bring on a couple of more positions within the next couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, we are also what would I say, building out, refurbishing another studio space. So as the team is expanding, we're also expanding space as well, and that is really going to be highly dedicated to mainly to photography. And there's a slight possibility that we might have a second video studio. But if it is going to be video, that's probably not going to be until the second half of this year. The focus really at this point is to be consistent more than anything else in getting out our core content, which is our podcast. Let's switch over to that view. Like I said, it's been fluctuating. It's brighter than it looks, but I don't want to adjust the camera because it's going to get the sun keeps going in and out of the out of the clouds, so it'll adjust eventually, I'm sure. And of course, please let me know where everyone is chiming in from. I have a lot to I want to talk about in regards to my trip to Africa, my first time going there, but I also want to hear from you all. And as we go through today's agenda, if you will, any questions or anything. I know there has been and I don't plan on ignoring it, but there has been quite a bit of uproar, surprise in the financial sector, and this is a big part of our conversation and a big part of this channel, and something that I've been advocating for is the strength of the Jamaican financial sector. And we can get into that today if you want at some point, but I do want to have a dedicated stream to that. So I don't want to necessarily get too much in the weeds of what's going on. And for those who are unaware, we're talking about the SSL scandal, and there have been millions of US dollars that have been unfortunately taken from this private company's account. But hopefully, we'll see what happens. We'll see how it unfolds. And with things like this, I always want to give it some time to breathe, if you will, and allow information and facts to come in before we jump on what's happening. But at the end of the day, I'm happy to be back in Jamaica. I'm happy to be back hanging out with you on this beautiful Sunday afternoon here in Jamaica, here on the 7 Mile beach of Negril. And the weather has been pretty awesome. I got here on Monday. And apparently the week before, the weather was not so nice. There was a lot of rain, rough seas, and now we've been having great weather for the last week, or at least I've been here. And today has been like the worst day, quote unquote worst day. It's gotten a little windy, but hopefully the rain holds off and we're good to go, and we're good to stay out here more than anything else. And once again, please let me know where everyone is chiming in from. I always love to hear from the city, states, countries, continents that you're chiming in from. Always appreciate it. So let's hop into the comments. I see your comment there, Julia, talking exactly about what I was talking about, the financial corruption. Yep, Julie says it, may take a big hit. Who knows? We'll see what happens. It really comes down, in my opinion, to how the government really handles this and what the consequences of this. Also, what are the consequences and repercussions, and also what's going to happen with the victims of these financial crimes. So like I said, we'll leave it at that for now in terms of keeping it surface level, but we can get into it a little bit as much as you want. Like I said, let's leave it at surface level for right now, because I do want to really get into the weeds at some point in time. Andrew Blake says, hey, Throp and all. Monique Hogue says, hello, all. Nice to see you both. Hi, Suzette. Thank you for welcoming me back. Nice to see you. Always nice to see all these familiar names. CCH, hey, Throp. I'm booked at your place for next Sunday. Hopefully see you there from the UK. Awesome. I will be here. Looking forward to seeing you and welcoming you here. Joe, how you doing? Thank you. Awesome to be back. Really awesome to be back. Elsa, hey, Throp. Myself and my mom recently came back back to the UK from Nigeria around a week ago. We had an amazing 2 weeks. I'm mentally still there. Awesome. I'm glad. So happy to hear that you both had a nice time here, and hopefully you'll be back soon. Sorry, I miss you. Starla says, I'm here in the grill. Awesome. I hope you're having a great time. Allison Smith, Diary of a Vegan, is in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. How's the weather there in good old Massachusetts? Donna Bryce says, hey, Throp and Throp family, welcome back. I was just wondering when your next live would be. Gloomy, snowy day in Ottawa, making honey sriracha wings with my Asian potato salad while listening. Awesome. That's not a bad Sunday. Sorry about the weather, but it sounds like it's going to be a yummy meal. Hey, Jennifer, thanks for chiming in. Ms. Cole, hello. And thank you for welcoming me back, Jennifer. Copeland Russell says, do you think it will stop us here in America to invest in Jamaica? Copeland's talking about the SSL scandal. No, I don't think at all. I mean, to me, at least right now, with the limited information that we have, we know like there is millions of dollars missing. We just don't understand how it happened. Obviously, some level of corruption, but the means and opportunities in which these people took advantage of is are unsure. So I think that's going to play into a lot of what happens with the repercussions, and also again how the government deals with this is very, very important, and how they hold these people accountable is going to send a message to the world one way or another. As great as Jamaica has been doing, obviously this is just not good for business, and it's not good for investment in Jamaica. However, and I'm not trying to downplay this at all, but like these things happen. I mean, there are the Bernie Madoffs of the world. There are the Enrons of the world. There are the Big Shorts of the world, which is, I gave a bunch of different examples specific to America that have global implications, that were both outright corruption, Ponzi scheme, and then there were on the other side in those examples they were just purely greed, over leveraged, high risk taking, just throwing caution to the wind, trying to make as much money as possible. And this is why we had the financial collapses in the past. And after those situations, regulations were put in place to protect against at least crises of that nature from happening again in the future. But there's going to be another Bernie Madoff. There's going to be another Sam Bankman-Fried. All these guys who run these scams and things of that nature. And I don't know what's happening with SSL. I don't know what exactly, why this scandal happened and how they did whatever they did, whoever the parties are to be held accountable. So again, I don't want to comment too much on it, but at the end of the day, it really does come down to how the government is going to handle this and how they're going to step in. And I do hope, maybe this is what you're alluding to, Copeland. In these situations, sometimes there tends to be like an overcorrection, and where and obviously I would think everybody in this chat does think that something needs to happen and people need to be held accountable. I would assume people are going to go to jail at this point. But that remains to be seen. And also with the implications, as far as like potential overcorrection, would that stop from outside non-Jamaicans or Jamaicans who are not living here, or even people who are not living here, from investing in the Jamaican Stock Exchange or the Jamaican stock market? My initial thought is I don't think so, and to me something of that nature will be an overcorrection. And I'm saying this with the very limited information that we have as it relates to this situation. All right, what else we got here? Hey, Justin. Justin says, welcome back from New Jersey. I'm audio only until I park later. Go Cowboys. Man, I know this is a big weekend for you, big week. Cowboys fans, it's been a minute since you guys have been in this position. Definitely wishing you the best. I don't got a dog in this fight, as they say. Jets didn't make it. Giants lost yesterday. And I used to be a Cowboys fan. So best of luck to you, man. Deborah Cohen says, hi from the UK where it's -3. Oh, that sounds frigid. That sounds real cold. Sorry about that. Sorry it's so cold there. Hopefully you'll be here in better weather soon. Janine W says, hi Throp, and me and my friends will be staying at Travelers at the end of February through the beginning of March. I am so excited. I hope to see you when I'm there. I will be here. Looking forward to meeting you, saying hello, and meeting you and your friends. Can't wait. Donna Bryce says, shocking the lack of monitoring and checks that would allow this to happen. Yeah, really unfortunate. Whatever it is that is going on with SSL. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what they do to get who really is going to be held accountable for these crimes. Country Gal says, go Cowboys, and from Natural Yard to Boston. Okay, cool. Chiming in from Beantown. Ocean Gray says, good to see you, Throp. You were sorely missed. Hello, Donna Bryce. Good to see you as well here, Ocean Gray. All right. So, okay, got one more comment. Elsa, I'm planning my next trip, and yes, it's a shame you're away. When we arrived, it was your YouTube channel that really promoted Negril to us. Awesome, awesome. That's so nice to hear, and really really great to know. And yeah, sorry that I wasn't able to say hello and meet you, but hopefully next time, and whenever that is, hopefully it's sooner rather than later. All right, I'm going to. All right, it's looks like it's going to be cloudy for a bit. I'm going to adjust the camera real quick so the brightness is fixed. 1 second. All right, that should help. Ms. Cole says my issue with this whole scandal, fraud, Ponzi scheme is the lack of oversight for me. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, of course, more oversight would have been maybe would have helped. But I again, as you know, is it a Ponzi scheme? Hey, wait. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know the ins and outs of it. I know the investigation is going on, so I don't. Again, I don't want to comment too much from a very naive position at this point in time. So I'm going to leave it there for now. But if you guys want to keep talking about it, throw it in the comments, and I'll try to remember to get back to it. But I do want to get into my Africa trip a little bit, especially since that's what took me away from all of you. I see Donna's book for travelers for a little later this year. Awesome. Looking forward to welcoming you back. All right. So Africa. So this was my first time ever to Africa. Never been there before, and I have an opportunity to go with Paradise and Vibe, which is it started out as a yoga retreat group, and it actually started right here at Travelers Beach Resort. Believe it or not, that was their first retreat that they had here, and this was essentially during the pandemic. I want to say it couldn't have been it had to be May of 2021. I would guess. Right in the middle of the pandemic, and essentially what they do and how they started out is doing these yoga retreats, and the main demographic that they cater to is women of color in the United States, but it is literally for everybody, and they're also trying to have more of an outreach, especially to black men, as a matter of fact. And it was so I went there to document it. I went there as a job through Throt Media, and to document them as from a video perspective. And then my brother Winfield, he did the photos, which we will go through, and we'll go through some of the video as well in a little bit. And I really want to give them their just due, because it was they had yoga pretty much almost every morning, and then they also had these workshops, these group workshops, and they were headed by these two amazing therapists. And just even me being somebody who it was just kind of the camera guy and just observing and documenting everything. These workshops that they had were like so powerful, and to hear some of the stories of the people that were in these workshops, and like understanding like the challenges that they're having in their life, and then also having the support of not only the therapist but everybody there, the bonds that were created in the few weeks that we were together, or a little less than 2 weeks that we were together, I think they're going to be forever with many people who were there. And to have that experience in the motherland, and for the most part, and the majority of everybody who was there, it was their first time to South Africa, it was their first time to Africa. So having that combination was really impactful, and I felt it. And again, I was the one who was just kind of covering it for the most part. And this group, Paradise and Vibe, is founded by two African American women, young women, and they saw a need for this within their community. And to me, they hit it right on the button. And They did an excellent job logistically putting everything together. It was 46 people, I think, in total. So a large group going from, we did everything, and I guess we'll get into the itinerary. We started out in Johannesburg. Everybody flew and arrived there. And then we stayed at all like top tier hotels in every city that we went to. And that was something that was also important to them. And I know this because we did interviews with them to get an understanding of the concept and what they were doing and why they were doing it, who they were going after, who were they trying to help. And the luxury aspect was also something that was important to them. And in my mind, it's like, why does it have to be like, in terms of my normal thinking or my thinking before this trip? It's like, why is luxury so important? And I never looked at it from the perspective of more of it's sending a message to not only the world but the people who are going on these trips, is that this should be their life. They deserve this. And when I say should be their life, like, this should be accessible to you on an everyday basis. And one of the themes of the trip was developing and honing this mindset of abundance. And a lot of time in the Black community, we really have the mindset more of scarcity. And this is something that I can definitely relate to. And this is something that I really, really appreciated about the trip. And like seeing all of these women, these Black women, were so successful in their own right. Excuse me, I'm just going to fix the camera 1 second. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, these Black women were so successful in their own rights, in their careers, doing extremely well. Many of them were their business owners. And don't get then, this was not a cheap trip. This was like $3,000-$4,000. I don't know the exact price, but it just goes to show you the caliber of people that were there. And it was just like so motivating to me to be amongst a group of people of this caliber, of this mindset. And these are, for the most part, all young, successful women. Everybody had their American Express Platinum cards. At one point, people were jostling over purchasing upgrades for first class seats. And it was like, man, in my mind, I was like, man, we've come a long way. And it was just very, very heartwarming to be in a group like this, and very, very motivating to be again amongst a caliber set of women. And I don't know how they put everybody together, but it was like the perfect set of personalities. There was no fights, no arguments. Everybody was go with the flow. Everybody was very much supporting each other. And we did a lot of things from the activity standpoint. I talked a little bit about the workshops that they had, which were great, and they were super, super powerful. But then there was also the adventure aspects, which really took people out of their comfort zone, even myself included. And so, taking a few steps back, we started out in Johannesburg. For the most part, people use Atlanta as the hub to fly direct flight to Johannesburg, which is about a 15-hour flight. And then we stayed at the Houghton Hotel, which is a very nice, I think it was 4 or 5 star hotel. Very beautiful layout, great service. And people, one thing that kept like the South Africans kept saying to us, because they could tell we were Black Americans, at least they came up to me, and they just kept saying, welcome home, welcome home. And one thing I also noticed that I thought was rare for me, at least, maybe somebody living in Atlanta would see this, but I don't see this in abundance, to use that word, in New York. But at the hotels we were staying at, it's just, you see these very successful Black people in South African Black people at this 5-star hotel, coming for dinner, hanging out. it was just like a very, very posh hotel, and it almost seemed like the spot, especially like on a Friday or Saturday night. And even a South African came up to us, young dude, and he was just saying, he's like, do you see this in America? Do you see all these successful black people here hanging out, having a good time? And I was like, no, where I'm from, like, I see it in pockets, but not like in like these great clusters. And like, this is also when we went to like nice restaurants, and I have pictures of that as well. And it's just like really, really inspiring to see. And I see why a lot of people, like, there's also, as we talk about this movement back to Jamaica and movement to Jamaica, there's also the movement to Africa, and there are hotspots like South Africa, like Ghana. I haven't been to Ghana as yet, but I see why Black people are moving to these locations, because it's like I didn't do business there or anything like that, but I feel like the support is there, and I feel like that is like the norm, as opposed to, I mean, being realistic, like to really make it in America as a Black person, it's more of an anomaly. And I'm not saying that, in a fictitious or facetious way or anything like that. Like, statistically, like, it's, there's not a lot of us when you look at the raw numbers and when you look at the percentage numbers, and where at least what I visualized and saw from observation in South Africa, there was an abundance of that, which was, again, super, super inspiring. Um, Other things that we did on the trip, we also went to in Johannesburg. Trying to think, where we went to. We did the New Year's Eve party there at this club called I don't remember the name of the club, but it was really awesome. We had like, it was like a 3-floor club. We had our own VIP section with a pool in it, which was just so over the top, talking about abundance. Everybody thought like our group, whereas we were like famous, and they wanted to take pictures with them, which was funny. Another thing I also observed about just being in Africa in general is that, especially just walking around with my camera, like Africans, South Africans at least, they love, love, love getting their picture taken. Like, everywhere. Like, if I had my camera out, they were like, take a picture of me, take a picture of me. And so I actually have a lot of pictures that I need to send to people that I met there. I have all their contact information. So I know they hit me up on Instagram. Where's my picture? Where's my picture? I owe it to them. But it was just, that was unexpected, I would say. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I was more than happy to oblige and take as many pictures as they wanted to take. And I will get them that off to them. I'm probably going to do a post just dedicated to that, of all that, taking pictures of all these strangers that wanted their picture taken. So I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought that was pretty cool. We also did a safari, based on my post, so you may or may not be aware, which was amazing. We did 2 safaris. We did a safari in the morning, early morning, like 5 a.m. safari, and we did one in the evening/night. You see different things, or different animals, I should say, depending on the time of day. So I'm gonna fix the camera one more time. Yeah, the safari were amazing. The only thing is, like, we did the early morning one specifically to go see lions, but it's nature, and we just missed them. But we had, let me see if I can bring up some pictures. We had some. The first amazing one we saw was an elephant. My brother took all these pictures, by the way. I mean, he's a great, great, great photographer, and this elephant came like pretty much right up to us. It was just incredible to be that close to such a powerful and strong animal. And you see these things on National Geographics on TV and that sort of thing, but to be there and actually be within touching, reaching distance is just a whole nother type of experience. And on the evening one, we saw giraffes. They came so close. They came so incredibly close to the jeeps that we were in, and just amazing, majestic animals. Oh man, I think that's the only picture I have of giraffes. But again, my brother did an awesome job. of taking pictures of these animals. And then we also saw zebras, which was pretty cool. They were just kind of jumping around. We did see a rhino, but we couldn't get in a position because there's a Jeep in front of us. We couldn't get in a position to like get close enough to get some good pictures. We did get some pictures, but only from the side. Unfortunately, I don't have them here, but still pretty cool. And the unfortunate thing with the rhinos is because they are still poachers going after their horns. The the folks that are in charge of the the safari, they actually have to cut the horns off of the rhinos so they don't get killed. So the one we saw, like they cut off his horn, but it was for his own protection and to save his life. But they can still protect themselves against whatever other predators that are out there, even with the horn that's cut off. But it's just so silly. People are still poaching these animals, these endangered species animals, for their horns. And apparently there's like an African myth that it's an aphrodisiac kind of thing and does this and that for your health, like, and it just doesn't make any sense. And so they're forced to, the rangers that is, they're forced to cut off the horn of the rhino to save their life. So that was the safari. I did a video on the safari. Hold on. So this video, I had to change the music. Like the video itself or the music does not go with the video, but I had to use licensed music because we would either be demonetized / the video would be taken down. So this is the video, and then I'll hop over to the comments before I continue. I don't want to just kind of keep getting them, just building this up. So this is, oh, I do have a New Year's Eve live stream video. All right, let's go into the safari one. Let's see how this comes out. Sorry if that was super loud. It was super loud for me. But that was a safari video. I will put links in the community center for all the original videos. It's all on my Instagram, just so if anybody wants to check it out. But let's hop over to the comments real quick. I do want to keep the interactions going here. Donna Bryce says, safari trip in South Africa is on my bucket list. In the meantime, I watch the safaris on Wild Earth Safari Live daily on YouTube. Awesome. Mosaic says, love that. A beautiful way to build community. Group travel is very powerful. Absolutely. Sal, hello from sunny South Africa. Hello. Nice to have you. One of my friends that I met while I was there. Awesome. Thanks for joining. Miss Perfectly Imperfect says, happy Sunday, Throp and chat. Glad you had an enjoyable trip. Definitely did. Donna Bryce says, that retreat sounds wonderful. It definitely is. Positive Lifestyle says, happy Sunday, everyone. Much love. Kedia says, peace, Throp. Yes, abundance is our gift. Good day, everyone. Absolutely. Lisa Marie says, happy Sunday, Throp and everyone from Connecticut. Nice to see you from all the way from Connecticut. Joe says, does the organization have a website? Can you put it in the chat? Yes. Hold on one second. Let me get that for you right away. Yeah, that's the website. It's paradiseandvibe.com. And they're doing another trip in May to Bali, actually. And that's looking like a pretty awesome trip. Kitty says that part, everybody flowed with it, love it. People are living to the fullest and don't have time for the negativity or survival mode of just existing. Absolutely. Like, I think people are kind of just done with that mindset and just kind of done with living like that. And this trip was definitely a microcosm example of that mindset. Positive Lifestyle, thank you so much for the donation. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Monique says, could you share the info on this agency that booked your trip? Yeah, Paradise and Vibe. You can go to the website there. I put it in the comments. Joe says a promoter that put on Afrochella and Accra, Ghana is a young dude from the Bronx, born and raised. He's from Ghanaian descent and moved down there to start a media and promotion business. Oh, wow. That's pretty awesome. I didn't know that. I think that happened like the week before we got there. I saw a lot of famous people in Ghana, like Chance the Rapper, Dave Chappelle, just a bunch of different people. Obviously we couldn't make it there, but that was just cool. That was kind of cool that it was around the same time period. Andwell says, "Hey Throp, so glad you're back. Very happy to be back." Andwell. Ebony X says, "Happy Sunday, Throp and Chap. Happy Sunday to you as well." Cassandra, great live. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining the live. Okay, let's continue with the South Africa trip. So this is the group. This is everybody. I think this is everybody. If this is not everybody, this is mostly everybody. A lot of happy, smiling faces there. I so wish I could tell you what museum this is, but I was just focused on capturing the video. I didn't even pay any attention to the tour guide, what they were talking about. I was like, this is one of the reasons why I definitely have to go back, because I was less in the moment than I could have been if I just went there to enjoy. And that's fine. That I was there for a particular reason. I was there on a mission to do a job, and it gave me a great taste of Africa, a great taste of South Africa. But I do want to go back and do it in a vacation mode way, if you will, and to really be there. Yep, that's me at that museum, whatever museum it is. Let me see. Do I have any more pictures in that museum? Oh yeah, I do. Hold on. Let me see if I can get them up. But this was in. Yeah, this was in. It was. We were in Johannesburg, and it was like, I think 45 minutes away. I hope, man, I could be getting it wrong. I'm pretty sure it was in Johannesburg. But yeah, let me bring up these pictures. We got a few more. Oh, I don't. We're gonna leave it at that. And this is in Soweto. And this is where people started asking me for pictures. This is where I first started taking pictures of strangers, which was cool. This was Nelson Mandela's house, which was just like so incredible and powerful to step foot in there and be in the presence of a place that has so much history and so much meaning to not only South African community, but the Black community in general, like the impact that he had. And I just felt honored to be there and to step foot in there. And this is a very, very famous picture I'm not sure if this was from. This is what sparked the Soweto uprising. Sparked by young people, and this young kid was shot and killed, and a lot of other people died. And this was what sparked the Soweto uprising. One of the reasons it sparked the Soweto uprising. Just I learned a lot about apartheid and races and overt racism that still exists in South Africa. And I didn't experience anything like that. I don't think anybody in the group did. But talking to locals and talking to South Africans, it seems to be extremely prominent and just interwoven in society through the like not only like we talk about a lot here about systemic racism in America. They have systemic racism, and then they just have overt in your face racism in South Africa, which is crazy. Again, didn't experience anything of that nature. Had a great time. I don't have anything negative to say. I didn't have any negative experiences with anybody, especially as it relates to race. But we were there. We don't live there. We were there for a short period of time, and I do trust the people that I was speaking to about their experiences and what they've been through. So just something to make note of. I don't know where this picture is taken, but my brother took it. Moving on. They also had an all red party one of the nights. This is in Johannesburg. And this was very nice. We started out saying everybody started, this is before New Year's Eve. Everybody started saying their New Year's Eve resolutions and what they were looking to accomplish in 2023. And this is I would say one of the first group bonding experiences of the trip. And we also got to keep in mind that most of these people, they didn't know each other. And a lot of people came by themselves. They booked the trip. This was their first quote unquote solo trip by themselves. And yes, they came with a group, but they didn't know anybody in the group. And I thought, that takes a lot of guts, I think, to do something like this. And everybody had their own reasons for coming on a trip of this nature. And so kudos to everybody who came and did that. And just, again, kudos to the group dynamics of the great support that everybody had and loaned to everybody in the group. All right, let's throw up another video. So I just remembered I have the New Year's Eve video. And so again, this is not the music for it. I had to change it because of copyright issues. So concerns, I should say issues. That was the New Year's Eve video. Propaganda. That's the name of the club. Just remembered. All right, let's hop over to the comments real quick before we continue on. Ocean Gray says South Africa is on our bucket list. Likewise, Ghana. Definitely recommend it. I highly recommend it. Sorry, the other pictures aren't coming up, but the one thing that I will say about South Africa, but particularly Cape Town, was just the affordability. And mind you, also, I guess we got to keep in mind that the US dollar is very strong right now, which I get. But it was just, and we're going to get into the Cape Town part of it in a second. But I was just so blown away at the value you get for what you pay. So even the like going to like a 4 or 5 star restaurant, it's like I wouldn't necessarily say, yeah, I would say it's like the cost of like at least what I spend at McDonald's. Like usually I spend like $23 at McDonald's because I get like 2 meals, large fries, I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm only saying that because I had it the week before I came back to Jamaica, McDonald's, and like I get like in order to like fill me up, I have to eat two entrees, if you will, and that sort of thing. And it's like the same amount of money that I would spend at McDonald's. Like you can get like a really good meal. Let's bring up. Hold on one sec. Let's see if we can bring this up. So I just wanted to, like, I just want to kind of bring that perspective. And also, as you see, like I have a drone video as well that I'll share in a moment. The infrastructure there is like, I was blown away, part of my ignorance, but their roads are definitely better than roads in some parts of America, and they're definitely better than the roads here in Jamaica. Even in Johannesburg, driving from the airport to the hotel, I was like, "Yo, this is crazy!" Like smooth roads, smooth highways, um, lights, everything. Like, and there were many times that I traveled from in Johannesburg. I went from the hotel to I don't know, like a mall casino. It's like the Venetian in Las Vegas. That's the kind of setup they have, like the fake sky in there. If you've been there, is it the Venetian? I don't know, whatever hotel that is in Vegas, where you kind of look up at the ceiling, and it's like a replica of the sky. And they had the same thing. The Uber rides were so much more affordable and cheap. Like even like I think like a half hour Uber ride was like, I should check to before I even say this, but I think it was like $12 or something like that. Whereas like half hour in New York, you're probably talking 50, $60, I would say. Um, Maybe not 50, $60, but like probably like in the high 40s for sure. So that's one thing I wasn't expecting. And even we went to this place, and on Sunday we did a Sunday brunch in Cape Town. It was like a Vegas s type pool party, but without the pool. Everybody was wearing white. It was like a nice brunch spot. I mean, we ordered, it was like 12 of us. We ordered all this food, just jugs of drinks, um multiple bottles of wine, champagne. The bill came up to like 200 and something dollars US. I was like, this is insane. Like, if you've been to Las Vegas, that's going to cost you thousands of dollars. But the place, I'm comparing Vegas and that place because the setup is very similar, um, very chic, very modern. You walk there, when you're walking in, you're seeing Lamborghinis, G wagons, Audi A8s. Like that's the level of money that they have, and people that you are going to these places, and yet you're paying pennies on the dollar what you would normally pay at say in a Vegas, or say definitely a New York City, which is crazy. Um, I don't know, and I don't know why that is in terms of why or how it's so affordable, but it just is. I think I have a picture. Nope, it's still not here. Oh no, that's Soweto, I think. All right, Sorry, not getting the pictures I want, but I just wanted to kind of point that out as you were saying that you wanted to go Ocean Gray, that you want to go to South Africa. That's just something to keep in mind. And again, it could be just because, or I'm sure one of the reasons is that the U.S. dollar is just so strong right now, and that helped out. Nala says, "Hey Throp, your trip looks absolutely amazing. Now that you've gotten your feet wet in Africa, you need to come visit Egypt. I would love to. I would love to. That's definitely on my list. My dad has been there. I remember seeing his old school pictures of him in the pyramid. So I got to make it there. Got to make it there at some point." Ebony X says, "I love doing solo trips." Marie D says, "Blessings, Throp and Throppers. Blessings to you as well." Miss Perfectly Imperfect says, "I never traveled solo out of the country, but I would do it in a group." Yeah, I would. That's one way to do it. I would highly recommend it. And again, I can't say enough about this group. This is a great group to kind of get your feet wet in that type of world. Marie D says, "This is wonderful. Going to the motherland." It really was. It really was. Ebony X says, "Ghana reminds me of Jamaica." You're not the first person I heard say that. That's pretty. If that's true, definitely got to go there. Definitely got to go there. Miss Perfectly Imperfect says, "Did you need a visa depending on which passport you traveled on? Do you need specific immunizations?" No, no visa needed. I traveled on my American passport. Didn't need anything. Didn't need any immunizations. I checked that out as well, but no problems in customs. 1, 2, 3, very welcoming. Got my passport stamped because a lot of countries are not doing stamps anymore. But I did get that was Johannesburg. Yeah, got that South African stamp in the passport, which is cool. But no, none of that was required at all with American passport. I'm not sure for a Jamaican passport. I'm unsure. Maridi says, "Oh yes, Africa is coming along." Yeah, it definitely is. And again, super impressed with the infrastructure, the lights. However, I will say the biggest fallback I will say I have to mention is their load shedding that they have there with the electricity, and so it's just part of everyday life there. Unfortunately, at some point the power is going to go out for a few hours, and there's actually an app that you download to know and understand when power is going to be out in your area, so you can prepare yourself. And this is every single day. Everybody just became used to it. We didn't necessarily feel the effects of it because we were staying at these nice hotels and these nice neighborhoods, and they all had backup generators. There's one night in Cape Town where I think they were fixing the generator, and it was completely pitch black, but every room has flashlights and those LED lights for you to get around. I think most people were sleeping at that point in time, but that's just something to take in consideration. I know my brother went to he was trying to find a restaurant that actually I recommended, by a friend recommended to me, and I was like, "Hey, go check this restaurant out." And he went, and he didn't know about the load shedding, or didn't know what was happening, but he just ended up like in this seemingly sketchy neighborhood with no lights. He's like, "What's going on?" sort of thing. But it was that load shedding, and it's just crazy to think that it feels and looks like a very advanced country, and then you have these major catastrophic electricity problems, which I believe for the most part they've adapted to. Like many of the friends that I've met, they have inverters, so they have these battery powered units that generate electricity for their homes when electricity does go out. But I don't think, these were successful people in their own rights and could afford this, but I don't think the average South African has that. And when you're on certain highways, like as you're driving, which I also thought was a very interesting dynamic, was you see these, I guess you can call them shanty towns. They were just hundreds, if not thousands, of homes made of zinc roofs and walls where people lived. And obviously those people don't have inverter units, and I can only imagine what can happen potentially in those neighborhoods. And even the Uber drivers that I was talking to, I talked to every single Uber driver. I was just trying to learn as much as humanly possible about South Africa from different people's perspective. As one of them was like, whatever you do, do not go into that neighborhood. Do not go there. And of course, like, what business do I have going there? He's like, it's very, very, very dangerous. And as we were driving past, and he's dropping me back off at my hotel, like, this Ferrari pulls up next to us. I was like, what is going on here? Like, this is crazy. And it was just like a very, very stark contrast. And it just showed me how concentrated the wealth is in that country. And that is many places. Like, of course, the same thing in America. The same thing in America. We all know that less than 1% of the American population owns or is in control of 80% of the wealth, or something, whatever that statistic is. But it was very, very apparent in Cape Town. You saw that. Like, I saw crazy cars. I saw a Lambo truck. I saw regular Lamborghinis, or G-Wagons, Porsches. Like, these were all over Cape Town. Like, this, I was like, man, this is crazy. There's a lot of money here, but then there is also a lot of poverty as well. So there is a very stark contrast in the socioeconomic dynamics there, as there are in other countries. So those are kind of the two critiques, if you will, that I observed. There's the load shedding, and then just the crazy differences in the socioeconomic, I would say, opportunities, and also just the wealth gap seems to be quite large. All right, back to the comments. Sonia Ross says, "You still eat at McDonald's?" Yeah, I know, right? I need to stop. I need to stop, but I love it. Miss Perfectly Imperfect says, "There's always that one thing that surprises you when you travel." Yeah. Could be Caesar's, Jennifer. I'm not even sure. In respect to the ceiling with the sky roof. Marie D says, "Have you watched Woad Amaya?" No, I have not. I'm not familiar. Max and Relaxin says, "Hey, Throp and Throppers, glad you made it back and enjoyed your trip. New Year's. Beauty, scenery, and pics. Thank you." Dodger Best says, "Hey, hi from the UK. Hope everyone is doing well. Hello to you." Miss Cole says, "The trip looks and sounds amazing, Throp." Donna Bryce says, "The electricity company must be like JPS." I was thinking the same thing, but again, speaking to locals, they said it's just like sheer, blatant, overt corruption. Why the electricity situation is like that. And it's been like that for the last 14 years. And I will also say, and this is not to like talk down or talk bad about South Africa, but this is just multiple people that I've talked to there, just getting an understanding of when they think about the future of South Africa and they think about their future as well. Like, are they hopeful? Are they, is there a bright leader or leaders that they can say like they are going to help get us out of this situation? Or there is a plan to improve the load shedding or this type of thing? And I didn't get that at all. Like, right across the board, unfortunately, there was just they definitely weren't negative. Don't get me wrong, but there was definitely a lack of optimism. And I contrast that to Jamaica, where as we sit here on Sundays, we sit down, we talk about Jamaica, we talk about the potential, and we talk about if we had this or if we had that, then we'd be X, Y, and Z. And I think we have great optimism for Jamaica. I think we are collectively here in this group, on this channel, this community, we are very bullish on Jamaica. And we see the brightest future for Jamaica, and the best has yet to come. And that didn't exist at least in the conversations that I was having with the locals in South Africa. It's just like, man, this is the way it is, and it's going to be like this, And it's just like, almost like, again, they were not sad or anything like that. They were happy, but they were just being realistic about their own realities. They were being realistic about the reality of their country. They were being realistic about the reality of their political system and the politicians that are in charge. And I was like, damn, that's terrible, you know. But that made me think back to Jamaica, and I was just thinking, how lucky am I? How lucky are we that Jamaica definitely has its problems. You know, we were just talking about SSL and the corruption that happened in this financial institution and how many people got burned. That's what we opened up with, but it's not to the point where we're like we just give up hope and we're gonna go somewhere else. And when you talk to Jamaicans and you ask them about the future and you ask them about what they're going to do with their lives and what the direction that the country is heading in, they're this is of course generally speaking, there is a high level of optimism. There is a high level of the best is yet to come, and there's a high level of confidence in the future of Jamaica and Jamaica, and a high level of confidence in the future of Jamaicans. And I don't think that is out of ignorance or pride or sheer patriotism, but I think that is a reality. And I think we have seen a lot of improvement in Jamaica in the last 10 to 20 years. And you also see a lot of what's coming in line and what's being are in development currently. And you're like, man, things are going relatively well here, and enough to be at the point where like you think that there's a better future ahead. So that's just a mental comparative conversations that I had with different people there. If that makes sense. Amaru says, I thought that only happened in Nigeria. No, I spoke to another Uber driver who's from Zimbabwe, and he said it's worse in Zimbabwe. And he was like happy. He's like, yo, this is this is way better than it is in my home country. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. So I guess to a certain extent, they're used to it. Kathy Hay says, one love from Baltimore and blessings to everyone. Nice to see you, Kathy. Yabiniak says, that same thing happened in Ghana, no light. Joe says, sounds like Kingston. And we have come a long way too. I mean, and in Jamaica, that is. I remember specifically when we had, especially like hurricanes, like the electricity would be out for days, or even just a random day. And I'm talking about 10 years ago, like when I moved here 16, 17 years ago, especially when I first moved here, it was like you needed a generator. Like you had to, like, and we didn't have one. We had one at one point. But we brought the wrong size, whatever. But it would happen so regularly, and you're just like, man, it just became but we're also in a market that catered to Americans, Canadians who weren't used to this. You know, it's not like we're catering to Africans who are used to it, and they're like, "What the heck is this?" And you fast forward to now and where we are, vast, major improvements in electricity and the consistency in which we receive our electricity. No improvements in the bills. It's gotten worse, I'll tell you that. But in terms of the service, I don't think anybody can argue that we are better off now than we were 10, 20 years ago. And that's just a fact of the matter here in Jamaica. And that's coming from my own personal experience, personally, and also from a business side. Camille Lewis says, how do you feel about the juxtaposition of wealth and poverty in South Africa? I learned about this in a discussion with someone who went there last year. It's tough, as I was explaining before, that it's the same in the States. The only thing with Africa, or at least South Africa and particularly Cape Town, is that it was really in your face, like really, really in your face. Like I said, we're driving past like these shanty towns, zinc roofs, zinc walls, hundreds. I was like, as far as your eye can see, like no exaggeration. And then a Ferrari pulls up. You're like, this is not right. You know, this is crazy. This is crazy, 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 crazy. I also felt like I didn't. What's a way to put this? Like, I didn't experience like the real Africa, like I didn't see all of it, right? This is one aspect, and particularly in Cape Town, I wish I could find this picture of this restaurant that we went to. Um, and it would just kind of give you an idea of like how nice these restaurants were. And it was like everybody was at these restaurants, and rightfully so. They were living their best life, like myself included. I'm not going to take myself out of that. And that's not going to come up, unfortunately. And you're just like, man, again, paying these very, very affordable rates and beautiful restaurants right on the water. And you're like, man, this is just kind of crazy that it's like this. But it's like it's almost too like, what are you gonna do? That's just the way life is there, and life is set up there. Um, I do hope that there are. I'm sure. I actually not hope. I know there are like charities that are created there to help give opportunity to different people. Not only there but also in America, and that stuff is important. That stuff is important, and I just hope that there are systemic opportunities being created for people to get themselves out of poverty. But again, it didn't seem that way. It really didn't seem that way. One of the friends that I met there, like even like her kids, she sent them away for school because she didn't feel that having them schooled in Johannesburg in Johannesburg in South Africa would give them the best opportunity to have the life that they wanted to have. And again, it just kind of goes back to that mindset of like, yeah, there's not necessarily a tremendous amount of hope or optimism for the country and for the future, which again is really, really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. Inga Baby says hello from Orlando. Tharp, good to see you. Amaru, yeah, Throp, yeah. It says your views on SSL. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit in the beginning. I'll get into it again a little bit later after we go through that. Yeah, I have no problem talking about that again. Marie D says, "Wow, must be the government-run electricity." Yep, that's exactly what that is. Lena H says, "Hi Throp, I love your information, informative and calming videos. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Despite all the teething going on with SSL, I remember when it used to happen in Jamaica." Bam Irie says, "I'm right here at Travelers enjoying another Sunday." Awesome, awesome. Happy to hear. Happy you're having a good time here, Bam Irie. All right, let's keep going with the Africa trip. So we are in Cape Town still. We did a pretty this was my favorite, absolute favorite day. We did a hike to we went. It's about a 45-minute drive. It was called Kamikaze Canyon, and this was the highlight of the trip for me. This was my number one day. Honestly, one of the best days of my life, hands down. And it was just so awesome being in nature, being on this challenge, because it was, I think it was like a 5 or 6 mile hike with 3,500 feet of elevation. So it was, it wasn't a walk in the park. And what I also appreciated was that everybody in the group was down to do it. Everybody's in different shape in terms of their fitness, and everybody was like, "Hey, I'm going to give this a shot." I'm not going to back out of this. And I thought that was pretty awesome. So it was a great group activity to do, and I thought like, and I guess one like for me, like why I liked it so much is that it was just like an adventure. We also did what is it called? I forget what it's come up with. It's you're basically rappelling down the side of a mountain. That's what we did. The name will come to me at some point in time, but that was so much fun. And as I was alluding to before, in terms of the challenges of that people were put through in this group and taking outside of their comfort zone, that was so important. And people really overcame their fear. I'm not like honestly like I'm not the best at heights. You know, I don't like like it, but like I think I like the overcoming part. Like I'm scared and I do it anyway. I don't like heights, you know, but it's like it was scary to me to go up the side of this mountain and then to rappel down this cliff. Um, and do it anyway, you know, do it in spite of my fear. And I really enjoyed that. And then I'm the only one who did cliff jumping. It was like a 14-meter high cliff, and the guy, and I was like, how tall is this? Like 14 meters. Like 14 times. I was like, damn, this is like 40 something feet high cliff. And the guy was pushing me, and I was like, man, maybe we go down to the 10-meter one. And he's like, man, if you're gonna do 10, you might as well do 14. I was like, all right, let's do it. And I ended up jumping off of it, which is like so thrilling and so awesome. And I would have done it again, but it was just so hard to like you had to like scale this rock face. Like once you get in the water and you swim to the land, like to climb up this rock was like so challenging, and you're wet. I did it barefoot, and actually banged my knee one time because like I had to do it twice because I had to come down the mountain with the rope, and then I did the cliff jumping. So I was like, man, I don't want to do it a third time. And anyway, that was so much fun. Again, one of the highlights of my life. Also, like what also made it like so highlighting, I guess, is that we were like as we went in, let me fix the camera 1 second. Yeah. What's up? Yeah. Yeah, sure, we'll do. Got it. Man, I think I made it worse. Hold on. Sorry, we're gonna have to work with that for right now. But one of the things about the hike was that as we were going on the hike, the group leaders, and I again remember like I'm here filming, so I'm not really paying attention to the the instructions that are happening, but they were telling us about like warning us about these about baboons in the group. And I wasn't aware of this. They never told us anything about baboons before we got on this hike. And I remember as we were entering the park or the hike, then you see this sign that says beware of baboons. And I'm like, what are the chances? You know, what are the chances that we're gonna run into baboon? Like I didn't pay any attention to it. Didn't think twice about it. But again, before we got there were instructions given that I was not aware of to not bring bags and also do not bring food. I heard the food part. They said do not bring any food. Sorry, this is bothering me. Let me adjust the camera again. Sorry, I think that's the best we're gonna get for right now. Anyway, baboons. Abseiling. Thank you, Deborah. I couldn't not remember the name. Thank you very much. Abseiling. That's when you rappel down the mountain. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. That's what we did. So we're on this hiking. So we're hiking to the abseiling site and cliff jumping site. And again, super challenging. You have to pay very, very close attention to your feet because it's very rocky. Like stones of different sizes, shapes, easily twist your ankle. As a matter of fact, one of the girls did twist her ankle coming back, and we literally had to carry her because she couldn't put any weight whatsoever on it. But she was a great sport. She just sprained it really bad. She was walking the next day. But it was just a tough situation for sure, and she's in incredible pain at the time. But it just goes to show you how dangerous that this type of hike can be, and how much attention that you had to pay to your feet and to where you were stepping. So this is not something that you could do quickly. So anyway, as we're instructed, we were told, don't bring bags, don't bring food. Even to the point, like, because we ate right before we went, they just said, please wash your hands, because even the smell of food on your fingers, on your hands, will attract these baboons. And so anyway, we're going, and we're at this point, we're split up into 3 groups, because we're going at different paces, and different groups are taking breaks. Again, as I mentioned before, everybody's in different shapes as far as fitness goes, and no man left behind. So I'm in the last group, because again, I'm filming, and as I'm filming, I guess one of the leaders is like, they get on the walkie-talkie that there's been a baboon sighting. I was like, all right, again, what are the chances? And it's a big area, so you're thinking that you're like, it's another group, right? Because it can't be our group. And it wasn't our group when he got the walkie-talkie. But anyway, I'm filming. Next thing you know, everybody starts picking up rocks. I'm like, what? I'm like big rocks. I'm just filming. I was like, man, this is funny. Like, this is not really about to happen. So anyway, we're walking, we're hiking. And then next thing I know, like, I just hear my brother yell, baboon, baboon. And like, I'm thinking, all right, he saw a baboon, which is cool. He has his camera, he'll take a picture. And then all of a sudden he screams, like, they took a bag. And so in my mind at that point, that, like, to me, and I don't know if this is my mind convincing itself that my brother is safe and that the baboon took a bag of somebody else, but that's what I interpreted, or how I interpreted it, and convinced myself like my brother is fine. And then I don't know what the next thing he said is, but I was just like, all right, he's in trouble, kind of thing. And so I'm in that back group, and I was just like, all right, I was like, yo, and I told the leader, and I told everybody else, I was like, I'm gonna go get my brother. I'm gonna go find my brother, because I don't know who he's with or anything like that at this point. Also, mind you, I've never done this before. I've never been on this trail. So I'm just going to try to walk this trail and find my brother and figure it out. So I know my brother is up to the left, because like, as I'm walking, that's kind of where the path is going. So I'm looking out for my brother. And of course, I'm looking out for this baboon. And I'm walking, and I'm looking to the left. And then I turn this corner, and then I look to the right, and the baboon is right there. Like, it's just me and him, mano a mano. He couldn't have been max 15 feet away from me. And we're just like staring at each other. I have my camera, and I'm like, what do I do? I wasn't scared, but I definitely did freeze. And I just knew not to do any sudden movements or anything like that. So I just started backpedaling, and I started hiking back to my group. And I tell them, I was like, look, the baboon is right there. And then one of the group members, Ladarius, who is not local, Black American, never did anything like this before in his life, he just starts taking up rocks. And he's like, let's go. I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean? So we start going, because like, I got to get to my brother at this point. I was like, all right, let's go. And so it's like me and him. And then we see the baboon, and this dude just starts wailing rocks at the baboon. Like, I'm talking about like 90-mile-an-hour pitch. And I was just like, I'm filming this, and I was just like, how does he know to do this? And then the instructor gives him, he's like, if you need to use the pepper spray. I was like, this is not happening. Like, why are we even having this conversation? Like, how are these words coming out of your mouth and these instructions you're giving us to fight off this baboon? And so it's like me and him, and we're going. He has a pepper spray, he has the rocks, and he's like literally fighting off this baboon with rocks. I'm like, man, this is so crazy. So what ended up happening, we get to my brother, and so it's me, my brother, Ladarius, and Deneen. And Deneen is there, and the baboon actually jumped on her back and ripped the backpack off of her back. And I was like, this is insane. And so we're like, and we're waiting for the group to catch up to us. It's just four of us. And then we actually see the baboon like in the like in the rough bushes. And he had another bag and Deneen's bag. And the baboon is just like kind of going through the bag. It's like just like almost like a kid would be going through something. Like he'd sniff it, throw it over his shoulder, just kind of rummage through it. And we're like, this is crazy. And like, I'm filming everything. I'm filming this baboon just going through this stuff. And so we just start, I just thought of something funny that my brother did. We just start walking because we're almost very, very close to the abseiling position. And so we just keep on the hike. And, you just hear different things on the walkie-talkie about the baboon sighting. So we get to this opening where we're doing the abseiling and we're doing the cliff jumping. And the baboon is like right up on a cliff. Like this thing was tracking us. And I was like, this is crazy. Everybody's scared. Like this is not even a laughing matter at this point. Everybody is so scared. And it's a group of majority girls. And so what they told us was, the guides told us, is like, this was like a rogue baboon that was essentially excommunicated out of the pack because he lost a battle to the alpha for a female, and then he got ousted from the group. And we're like, man, we got this rogue baboon tracking us, and everybody has their rocks. Everybody ready to fight this baboon off. I'm like, this is crazy. And the baboon goes from that cliff. And if you follow me on Instagram, you see the exact clip where I was showing the baboon, and then he just like disappears into the forest, and he basically comes around to us. And these guys had to fight off the baboon again with these rocks. I'm like, man, this is like such a crazy situation. And we're all trying to focus on the abseiling and, overcoming our fears and everything like that. And we have this baboon to deal with. Anyway, he and he comes close again, and like one of the girls on the trip, like we're all like laying down on this rock, and she just starts like just like rolling over and like on all fours, like trying to get away from where this baboon was, because a lot of people had their bags tied to these trees to keep the baboon away from us. And the baboon was like trying to go after those bags, and that's why these dudes went after the baboon with rocks. Crazy situation. Everybody who wanted to do abseiling and cliff jumping did. They continued. But what what an adventure. What a story. I can tell you, anybody who was there that day will never, ever forget that day. Will never forget the day that we had to fight off a baboon with rocks. And I think that's also partially why I really, really enjoyed that day. It was so much fun. And it's just very, very happy that at least I can look back and laugh at it. Some people may be traumatized by it. But, we listened to the guy, we did what they told us to do, and we were okay. But it's just a crazy situation. And where I was laughing before, I probably shouldn't even say this. It's like, so me and my brother are in the back, and the group is like, this is so mean. I should probably even say that. The group is hiking in front of us, and then my brother started taking rocks and just throwing it in random bushes. And people were getting so scared, they thought it was like the baboon coming. They were like, what is that? What is that? It was Winfield throwing rocks, like scaring the people. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, again, this was not a funny situation at all. Like, everybody is like definitely scared of this baboon. This guy's running jokes, throwing rocks. Oh man, it was so funny. And it wasn't at the same time. But like I said, we made it out unscathed. It was just, Gary, just remember, we did the abseiling, we did the cliff jumping, and we had a hike obviously all the way back. And thankfully on the hike back, there were no more baboon incursions. There was an uneventful situation hiking back, but I just remember hiking back and just like looking up at the vastness of the mountain and the canyon that we were in. It was just like so beautiful beautiful day. It was like very, very hot, as a matter of fact. I also forgot to mention we actually got the bag back. So we got the bag back and the other bag that the baboon was going through. Those videos will be up at some point in time. But they they got the bag back. Deneen got everything back, and it was just this is like after that the rest of the day, that's all we talked about. Like everybody just couldn't believe like we just had this crazy situation. We had to fight off a freaking baboon. Like what the heck? And we were okay. Everybody was okay. Like except for the one girl that I mentioned before, she had twisted her ankle. But she was fine. Eventually, like I said, the next day she was up and walking and she was okay. But nobody else got attacked by the baboon. Very sorry that happened to Deneen. And it was it was a tough situation, really scary situation. And like I remember, I called my dad the next day and told him about the situation. I was like, man, and my dad gets worried easily about us, and he's like just telling us like, you got to be careful and not to take these types of risk and da 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, I know, and like I know I shouldn't be telling my dad these stories because he gets worried about us, but we're okay. We know how to handle ourselves, and of course, anything could have happened in this situation, and thankfully, it didn't. Dealing with this wild animal, and we were actually going to go cage diving with sharks. We paid for it and everything, and didn't have the heart to tell my dad that we were doing that, but they had to cancel because there was rough weather. But that was something that me and my brother definitely wanted to do, and we were looking forward to doing it. But some other trip, maybe when we go back to South Africa or in Australia, they have apparently very good cage diving. But they didn't have any. It wasn't great white season, so that's what we really wanted to swim with, was the great whites. But that wouldn't have we wouldn't have had that opportunity during this time. So we got to go back during great white season. Anyway, that's the baboon hiking story. One for the ages. I'm going to put out a specific video on that because it was just funny now. And what also, so we had breakfast at this at the restaurant associated with the hike that we took, and they told us, one of the waitresses told us that the week before they literally had to fight off a pack of 20 baboons. Like they came and like they were like rummaging through the garbage and going like, and they were trying to get inside. They literally had to lock themselves in because the baboons were coming for food or whatever, and they had to have a meeting with the park ranger about the baboons coming. I was like, what kind of life is this? Like, this is crazy. Like, it's a regular, normal thing to fight off baboons, and like to come in like with a gang like that and just try to run everybody's pockets. Like, this is mind-boggling. But it's just kind of like their way of life. And then they like, even the girls, they were fighting them off with rocks and this and that. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, nobody's used to that. I could tell you, nobody's used to that at all. Whew. What a trip. What a hike. What a hike to remember. Let me get to these comments. Inga Baby says, we're happy to have you back, Throp. Good to be back. Ebony X says, in South Africa, the white minority still holds the majority of the wealth. That's absolutely true. Miss Perfectly Imperfect says, thieving baboon. Kedia says, definitely paused. I definitely did. I had no choice. Kedia says, let's go. Oh my God, baboons run so fast. Dude was wild. Like, no, trust me, he was. And like I was telling you, like how like gingerly we had to walk through like the rocks because we couldn't sprain our ankle. We didn't want to sprain our ankle. Like, this baboon moved so gracefully over them. Like, it was crazy. It was like moving at the pace that you would run at, but on these very like rough and uneven terrain of these rocks. Like, it was just, it's hard to explain, but I got it on video. It's hard to explain how quickly this thing moved. And like us humans are like walking like this and, making sure that we don't fall and hurt ourselves. Crazy how fast this thing moved. Camille says, oh my God, imagine a baboon on one's back. I would die. Definitely. Oh my gosh. Like I couldn't imagine that. It's like a baboon just hopped on my back and just ran my pockets like that. Like it's crazy. And like my brother and Deneen said, like, you didn't hear a thing. This thing was just silent, stealth like. And also one of the park rangers told us that they are like they are they always go after like the weaker person, and they knew to go after the female and not after my brother. Like my brother, like yeah, my brother is stacked and hits the weights and everything like that. Still wouldn't stand a chance against a baboon. Like how strong these things are, and it's just like, you know, like how hard is it to rip a book bag? Like imagine ripping a book bag off of somebody's back. Like how strong, like, and he said the way that they did it, it was just like it was like untying a shoelace. Like that's how strong they are. Just to give you an idea. Kitty says, "What jumped on her back? I probably would have fainted." Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Kitty says, "Not funny then, but this, I'm crying. Glad everyone is safe." Camille says, "No, Summer, that's turn back. Trust me." But you couldn't turn back. Like we're so deep in the hike, like you couldn't go back at that point. You had to stay with the group. Oh man, Afro kinky hair. Hello, hello. Okay, it's something to laugh at. Wade's minutes. I do have the footage. I'm putting it together. I'm putting it together. Trust me. Ebony X says I'll stay on the beach. Ocean Gray said that was not so crazy. More like so Jamaican throwing rocks. That's what we do. Yeah, there was. Yep. it was it was different than dealing like defending yourself against a mongrel dog. This was this was the next level. Inga Baby says, "So Jamaican is not so bad after all, right? So Jamaican's not that so bad after all. Not so bad after all. I'll deal with the dogs on the street while I'm running any day of the week rather than a baboon. Like, no way." K Dependent, the Kaden Pat says, "I will be in South Africa on tour in April, so I'm glad you told us about the baboons. I'll watch out for them." Yeah, they should tell you about them on the hike. You should be fine. Go on the hike no matter what. Don't let the baboons scare you off. Yeah, that's the baboon story. Oh man, that was one for the ages. One for the ages. Let's see here. I think I got a couple more videos. Okay, I got the hike here. So again, this I'm gonna put the links in my community page for the actual videos that I put on Instagram. So this hike, the hike highlight video. This is not the music. I had to use licensed music this time. So here is the highlight video. It might come out a little loud, so just prepare your speakers right now if you want to turn them down. I'll give you a sec so it doesn't come blasting through. Here we go. I'm gonna put out more of these videos. I'm gonna put out a highlight film, and also for those channel members and Patreon members, I haven't forgot about you. Got a lot of content that I recorded just for you guys, so I'm putting that up as soon as I get a chance. I still have a lot of the group content to create, so I'm still working on that for Paradise and Vibe. So that's kind of my priority right now that I've been focusing on. So yeah, that's kind of the trip. I got one more video. I got some drone video that I want to show you in a second. It's almost a 5-minute video, and then we can get back into more Jamaica-esque stuff, if you will. But that's pretty much my trip. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely want to go back. Absolutely will be going back. Would love to go back this year. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but putting it out there that I want to. And it's not as like it's just finding the time, and it's like one of those places you got to spend at least 2 weeks out there. You have to, with the jet lag, time difference, um, acclimatizing. Johannesburg, like talking about acclimatizing, like they are, I believe, 2,000 feet above sea level. So that was tough for me as far as like running goes. That sucked actually because I didn't even realize that we were so high above sea level, and I was trying like I didn't understand what was going on because I was running my normal pace, but it was just like so much more laboring. And a couple of days later, I realized like, okay, it's the elevation, that made it super challenging. So that was interesting. So yeah, 2 weeks, like you need like in my opinion, 2 weeks, and I definitely want to go on more adventures, more hikes. Like it's an amazing place to hike. So many hikes. I did Table Mountain by myself. We were trying to do it as a group, but like couldn't line ourselves up. I extended my trip, so I was supposed to leave on Sunday night, and I actually extended my trip until basically Wednesday night. I just wanted a few days by myself to like explore and hang out there because I didn't. There was the itinerary was just so jam packed. Just didn't have an opportunity to really see Cape Town. I was in Cape Town at that point, so ended up extending my ticket and staying a few extra days by myself and enjoying as much as I could of Cape Town, which is amazing, special place, amazing special place. And again, really want to head back there at some point in time. All right, so I guess I'll throw up the drone video. So this is a chill 5-minute video of different aspects of the trip and different aspects of Africa, and that'll give me an opportunity to finish eating this food and take a little break. All right, let's throw it up, and then we'll get into Jamaica stuff, and we could talk more about SSL as well. Hope you enjoy. back. Did not have a chance to eat or use the bathroom. I was talking to people. There's somebody who wanted to talk to me, but I don't know where they went. Okay, let's get back to it. Ocean Gray says, Throp, would you sponsor a trip for your followers to go to South Africa in the near future? Could we do ThropX in Africa? Why not? Hey, Stanley. Better late than never. Absolutely. I would say like that's some. Oh, I'm going back to your question, Ocean. That's something to consider. But even what would I say? Even like a with a group like Paradise and Vibe, I think they got the model already, and maybe I don't know if they'd go back to South Africa. I don't see why they wouldn't at some point in the future. They have a bunch of different plans for different cities already on the calendar. But I don't know if this is what you're asking, but doing a trip to Bali in May with them again, I think it would be great if anybody's interested in going with a group or doing, as we were saying before, doing a solo trip with a group. Doing your first solo trip by yourself, but you're going with a group of people who may be strangers in the beginning, but will certainly turn into friends by the end of the trip. I can guarantee you that. All right, let's. You guys want to talk about SSL? Let me know. Sorry, just checking the media here. Yeah, that is the last piece of video that I have for today. Okay, so we can talk about SSL. If you have any more questions about the South Africa trip, please let me know. You can just throw them in there. Only thing I say, I was saying and opened up with about SSL is that, sorry, but I'll just see some questions coming in and we'll hop into it. Kadia says, "Is this a group for adult travel only?" Good question. I only reason why I said I'm not sure. I didn't see it. There were no children, so I'm not sure. There was a mother and son, but it was a grown adult son. I don't know if kids, it would be okay for kids, but I would imagine. My assumption is it would be. Like I'm trying to think. Maybe you wouldn't. Although I'm trying to think, like if a kid were to be there, where and what activities would they be excluded from? The first thing that came to mind was safari, but there were tons of kids on the safari. Tons of kids. You could tell that these parents and these families doing safaris was just a part of their life, just part of like doing adventures together. So even that would be fine. I saw kids on the hike, which is crazy with these baboons, but it was a thing, and they had no guide. They were just like this group of young people, and there was a kid, he must have been 9 years old maybe, and they did the hike. So I think yeah, I don't know, but I will find out. If, let me see. Let me just text the group now, and let me see if I can get that answer. What your exact question here is? Our PNV trips. All right, let's see if we get an answer. Okay, let's let's talk about SSL. So, as I was saying before, I have very limited information, and I think we all do. Hold on, let me fix this camera again. All right. Hold on, I think. All right, so just got a answer from one of the founders in regards to the question about adult only. They don't. So they said word for word, it's adults. It's always adults. So I'm going to go with yes, even though we don't have a policy on it. So it is mostly for it is for adults. That so yes, that's a short answer. Okay, SSL. As I was saying before, we don't. There's not a lot of information coming out as far as what exactly happened. As far as I know, and like and when I say what happened, like how they did this and whoever they are, and I would say the most important thing here right now is the government's response to this. Like, what are they going to do? How are they going to hold the people who did this accountable? And what measures are going to be put in place to make sure that a situation of this nature does not happen again? That to me are like the most important things that happen from this point forward. And that is either going to drive further confidence in the Jamaica financial market, or it's going to be like nothing happened. They didn't do anything. They got a slap on the wrist. Nobody's being held accountable. Then, that would be very bad. That would be very bad. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that this is going to be a situation that's going to be slid under the bus. I really hope not. And then I would say the third pillar of that is what's going to happen with the victims. How are they going to be compensated? How is this going to be made right for them? And this is not like the hate to say, but this is not like the United States. And you sue someone and you're confident that you're going to get some sort of compensation for whatever it is that you went through. And this is just my experience. I've won a lawsuit here, and it still felt like I lost after many years of being in the court. So I don't know. I just hope that this is not this stays criminal, and that the government holds this institution and those involved accountable, and then again that there is some sort of just compensation to the victims of this situation to make this right. And like I said, I can't really speak to the how. I don't think anybody knows how this was done, and we don't know. We know kind of certain people were involved. There's like main people that they're investigating, but like how deep does this go? Up to what level have people been involved in this situation? It's not good. And as I was saying before, that and I was saying before that, and I was giving examples about fraudulent situations, not only just fraudulent, but financial situations that have affected the global financial market, and speaking specifically to situations that have happened in America. there there are corrections that are made from these situations. So everything from the most corrupt with the Bernie Madoffs of these worlds to just that American greed with the global financial market of 2007, 2008. And, you know, but this does not seem like that. This seems like this was outright fraud as opposed to, say, being over leveraged or, say, being irresponsible with other people's money. This seems like straight up fraud. Is it a Ponzi scheme or anything like that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what this is at this point in time. So my point in even bringing up these scenarios and these situations that have happened in America, and I bring them up because I am most familiar with them. I studied them in school, and then also I would say, before the last few years, I was more informed and educated on the U.S. financial market than I am with the Jamaica financial market, and it's also more of a mature market than Jamaica financial market is as well. And so there are lessons that can be learned from those situations that have happened. And what I would venture to guess will happen in this situation is that there will be corrections made so that this never ever happens again and nobody can get burned, at least like this. But there will always be corrupt people in these positions, like for the foreseeable future. But we got to learn from them and make corrections for them, just like the US has. And again, it really depends on what the government is going to do and how they're going to handle it moving forward. And that to me is like the main question here, and that really remains to be seen. Let's see. Jennifer says Zachary Harding, who led SSL from 2019 to 2022, had no knowledge of a public figure like Bolt having an account or any misappropriation of funds. Don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, like, whoever is at the head, like, you're responsible. Like, this is under your watch. Whether, like, if this is like something happens here at Travelers, this is like it's on the owners at the end of the day. Like, nobody cares, right? And so again, I don't want to speak on speculation. I don't want to speak on things that I'm unaware of at this point in time. But that is hard to imagine. Inga Baby 51 says, yes, unfortunately, it doesn't matter where you live. You have to keep a close eye on your money. Absolutely. Yeah, we're not in a world of set it and forget it at this point in time. Alfonso Worth says, Throb, what's up? Good to have you back. The thing that's really upsetting is the way the government treats the uptown crooks different from the downtown crooks, whereas the outrage, the silence is ridiculous. I agree. Like, so one thing I was saying is that when I came back, you started from Africa. Like, I saw a few speeches by the prime minister talking about at least alluding to the re-implementation of the death penalty here in Jamaica. And we don't got to get into whether you're for that or against that or anything like that. However, with a white collar crime like this, what's the equivalent? And I'm not saying somebody should be killed or lose their life because of this. I'm not saying that at all. But there has to be like assets. Like, in my mind, assets should be seized. People should be going to jail, and not like a year or 2 years. Like, people should be going to jail. Because I don't know, everybody, we keep hearing about Bolt. He's a high profile figure and he lost a lot of money, etc. What about the other people who don't have as much money as he does, but it was their life savings, and maybe that ruined wealth in their family for generations to come? And who knows what the consequences of this situation are really going to be, and the dominoes that are going to fall because of this. And absolutely, I agree with you, Alfonso, that people need to be held accountable to a high level. And Yeah, even when I was like, what was funny? Like, I heard about this and I was asking the driver who picked me up. I was like, "Hey, what's going on with the whole SSL scandal?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "What? How do you not know about this?" And this is a taxi driver. They know, like, this is something that just talks like they talk about everything. So that was also kind of strange to me. I found interesting, to say the least. But you're right, and I hope these, whoever these people are, like they need to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law, and we'll see what type of public outrage is built upon with this. Miss Cole said this is not the first or third time this has happened in Jamaica. um I don't know of any other, maybe because this is just the most I've paid attention to in recent times, so I haven't heard about this before. But I will definitely be better informed in the future streams, and maybe we do a podcast on this specifically. As a matter of fact, Rochelle Campbell says that's why when I signed up with my investment accounts, I said I do not want a wealth advisor over my account. I will self manage. Wow, interesting that you've made that decision. Inga Baby says, "Strop. At the end of the day, we can't have poor people in charge of rich people's money." Is that what happened here? Inga Baby says they need to send a very strong message on the issue. Those involved should be put in prison. Yes, I agree, and they should be put in prison for an extremely long time. And yeah, I think that should really send a message about this, and about like these white collar crimes that happen in Jamaica. And I'm not, I don't know. Rochelle says, I'm not Rochelle. Who said it? Miss Cole said that this is something that's happened multiple times in the past. I'm not aware. Unfortunately, I'm not aware of that. But if this is something that happens regularly, like what happened to those people? What are the examples that were set from those situations? Not Amaru says nothing less than 35 years for those crooks. Seems like Bolt was the cash cow of SSL. I'm wondering, like, was he the? I don't know if you know this, Amaru. Was he the, like, was he like the biggest account, or was he the major account? Like, what was it in terms of percentage of percentage of the cash that they had? I believe it was 10 or 11 million US, if I'm not mistaken, if I read that correctly. Rochelle Campbell says it happened the other day at NCB St. Anne branch. A wealth advisor stole over 20. Oh, yep, I do remember that. Yep. Over 20 million, $1 million from an account. Yeah, I wonder what's happening with that. Ocean Gray says, Throp, my husband and I invested in Hyperverse and we cannot get our money. Therefore, it's happening elsewhere. Boy, sorry to hear that. Cash Plus, FinSec. Yep, these are other examples. Ebony X says, in New York Stock Exchange, most of the money managers are not rich. Theon says Jamaica needs better regulations for every aspect of operations. This is about crooked people, not about poor people handling money. Rochelle Campbell says the account is not in his name, but a holding company. Gotcha. And Miss Cole says, and one other where the main criminal is now retired in Turks and Caicos after stealing millions. Yeah, that's incredible. Incredible. Jennifer says 12.7 million. So that's how much both had in there. 12.7 million US. Sorry, just chewing some food real quick. Afonso says, I think we need a system. I think a system should be put in place just as the banking system. Whenever any transaction occurs, the client should get a notification and should be able to check their account balance. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's very basic. Whether interest is being given or you're paying a fee, whatever it is, alert should happen. And again, I don't know the details. Like, was the money just taking out like in one fell swoop? Was this done over time? Um, like, how did this happen? Um, was Bolt just never made aware? Like, did he just leave it, forget the account, and he just like, oh, it's gaining interest, is doing that sort of thing? And I think a lot of people do that, and they trust the institution, they trust their money manager, etc. And so they just leave it. So I don't know the ins and outs in terms of how it happened. Rochelle says JMB does that. I get an email that my trade went through. Ebony X says St. Lucia is apparently the chosen place for some of the people that are allegedly involved. Interesting. I wonder if they have some sort of extradition policy there with Jamaica. Rochelle says, I don't believe his account was in individual stocks, but in a managed fund. Donna Bright says, my understanding is that. Okay, I'll let you finish typing that. Jennifer says, I think one of the main reasons it's getting so much attention is because of Bolt, but the impact is probably even greater for the other victims. That was probably their entire life savings. Yeah, I agree. Like, more than likely, I would venture to guess that Bolt has his money spread out in different investments, that we've heard about over the years. And obviously, 12.7 million US dollars is 12.7 million US dollars. And that's not something to scoff at or just kind of let go. And he shouldn't. Nobody shouldn't. But my hope is that he doesn't go to the poorhouse. I don't think he's going to go to the poorhouse because of this. But there may be other people where, like you said, Jennifer, like that was everything that they had. And they thought that it was in a diversified, portfolio or in a diversified index fund, and that they diversified their risk. Even though they went with one institution, they trusted them, and they could have lost everything. And again, they got to go after these people in a big, big way. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And it's important that the government does everything within their power to reinstill confidence in the Jamaica financial institution. Donna Bryce says, my understanding is that account statements were edited to show funds that were not actually existing. Jeez. I mean, what do you do then? You know what I'm saying? Like, if this is the case, if you're getting a piece of mail that says you have $12.7 million in your account from the institution that you invested this money into, but when you actually go there to make a withdrawal or whatever it is to do a transaction, they say the money isn't there. That'd be crazy. I couldn't even imagine like having that realization. Rochelle says St. Lucia's is a chosen place because as a holding, you don't have to pay taxes on dividends, etc. received in Jamaica. I see. Ebony says there were people on the list with less than 500,000 US. And Rochelle says yes, the statements were edited. So this sounds like this was, I mean, just multiple levels of collusion within this institution. If they're editing these statements, man, these people are bold. That's crazy. That is really, really crazy. Alfonso Ware says this was done over a 10-year period. The clients trusted their financial advisors. they'll just send the client a written statement, and the clients will accept the statement when the numbers are different. Man, that is not cool at all. Inga Baby says she didn't do this by herself. She had help. Yeah, had to. There's no way from what you all are telling me and in terms of how it was done that one person could have done this. This is multi-layered interdepartmental assistance with this. And Ebony X says the fish stinks from the head down. Couldn't have said it better myself. I'm definitely going to be speaking with some financial advisors this week and get some inside information on this. I'm sure everybody's calling their financial advisors and checking on their accounts and doing this and doing that, as you should when something of this nature happens, and perhaps do it on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, this is definitely astonishing. Kay says this was an elaborate scheme and not a one-man job. It does not seem like it from what everybody's telling me here. It does not seem like a one-man job type situation. Hold on, let me fix the camera real quick. All right. Ebony says she's going to take the fall for this. Amaru says, wouldn't be surprised if Bolt's ex-manager is in on the fraud. He fired him just late last year. Oh, wow. Interesting. Theon says, sadly, this is not only in Jamaica, although Jamaica is worse. Transactions were edited. Bank of America robbed me in 2014. I was stunned. I'm now vigilant in dealing with financial institutions. And I saw a lot of people on Instagram, speaking of Bank of America, which I think is, I left them. Just to say that, I left them, and they're, anybody who's with Bank of America, careful. That's all I'll say. There have been books written on different institutions that. Oh, so the book that I read was "I Will Teach You to Be Rich." Great, great, great personal finance book. Highly recommend. I think I read it twice, as a matter of fact. And the author in there, advises so much against against Bank of America, and he lists why. And I left them. These guys just out of nowhere. Like after I closed my checking account with them, I think I had 2 or 3 credit cards with them. Is it 2? I had 2 cards with them. They just canceled them out the blue. Like no writing, nothing. And yeah, I would look into them. And what I saw on Instagram, and I don't know, I haven't followed up with it, is like a lot of people were saying that their account balances, they were missing money essentially from their account in their Bank of America account. So, yeah, I haven't had the greatest experience with Bank of America while I was with them. I only opened up an account with them when I was in business school because that's what was everywhere in Boston and the most accessible bank for me. But yeah, I was out when I when I start to read up on them and understand how their fee structures work as well. But just some personal advice and just kind of reading what's happened recently. Ketya says, "Wow, that is so messed up. Definitely many players involved and an inside job. Sad. And this is why my grandma kept only a little bit of money in the bank and the stacks in her home and bosom." I hear you on that. Kay says they need to assess all assets of folks in this company over the last 10 years. Of course, seize everything. Inga Baby says, I pulled my money out of Bank of America last year. I think that was smart. I think that was super smart. I would say, I think now is definitely a good time. I think what we're getting from this conversation is now is a good time to look into, whatever investments that you have and to make sure everything is on the up and up, not just here in Jamaica, but, your whole portfolio. Make sure everything is cool. I don't know how you double verify, if you will. Again, going back to what y'all are telling me about getting these statements from the institutions that you're giving your money to and them saying and showing you on paper that you have X amount of dollars, but you don't. I don't know how you double verify that. But if there is a way, again, I think now is a good time to do that. I know I'm going to be doing that for sure this week. For sure this week. And you can never be too safe in this world and where your money is at, especially if you're coming on retirement age. That's the last thing you need to have happen. All right, let's keep it moving here. What's the last comment? Ingrid Baby says, I check my savings account every day and my investment accounts. Don't sleep on these white collar criminals. Absolutely not. Rochelle says, Bank of America, shake my head. I saw a video this week of persons with money missing from their account. Yeah, I saw those too. I was a lot of people were saying they're missing money in their account. And then I also saw like people just couldn't get in touch with customer service. You just shut down. So I couldn't, like, they're whatever, the system's not working just magically and coincidentally. Crazy. So scary too. So scary. Like a big name like that is doing that to their customers. Unacceptable. Ebony says, recently a lot of people that have accounts with Bank of America lost money. That is so bad. It looks like Jamaica is the worst because it's small, but I do think the Madoff situation is way bigger and worse. Absolutely. There's no question Madoff is bigger than this. No question at all. There's no question at all that the financial crisis that was caused by pure American greed in 2007, 2008, where virtually nobody was held accountable. Virtually nobody was held accountable. Virtually nobody went to jail. And that had global implications where everybody, us included, and when I say us as community, everybody here was affected by the decisions of these greedy financial institutions. And way worse than this. Way worse. Doesn't even pale into compare. And also keep in mind, like, keep things in perspective. We don't understand the wider implications of what happened or what's happening with SSL. Like, is it isolated to just these people, or are there pension schemes included are being affected by this? Are institutions outside of these individuals who are being affected? Will this affect the average person? I don't know. That remains to be seen how widespread this is. Amaru asks, Throp, do you think this will affect the economy where investors is concerned? It could. Like I say, it definitely could. Like, if people lose confidence, like with investing, it's all about confidence. Especially in investing in a developing country, it's all about confidence. And if larger financial institutions don't believe in the future of Jamaica, they don't believe in the political system, they don't believe in the financial system of America, of Jamaica, and they start either pulling or diverting or just not investing in Jamaica anymore, could have huge ramifications, major ramifications, if this is not taken deadly serious. It could definitely, and if it seemed, and I'm not saying this at all, but if it seemed that this type of behavior and this type of corruption is accepted and is a way of life, quote unquote, and a way of doing business in Jamaica, it will definitely turn people away, and it will definitely turn away institutional investors, which is what we don't want. We want to avoid that completely. We don't want to avoid institutional investors coming to Jamaica. So I do think, I don't know the percentage of investment comes from individual investors in Jamaica, but in America, I know that it's more or less as a small quantity when it comes to like institutional investors. When you look at the stock market and what really moves the market, it's institutional investments that does that. Generally speaking, of course. But again, as I open up with, it really does come down to how is the government handling this and what are they going to do about it in terms of consequences and repercussions. My opinion. Amaru says, "Do you think this will affect the economy?" Remains to be seen. If it will affect the economy, remains to be seen. It could. It could. People are pulling out their money out of banking institutions in mass droves. For sure, it could. But I think it remains to be seen at this point in time. Donna Rice says, in Jamaica, People's Mattress banks may be flourishing for a while. Yeah, I could see that. Kay says, keep money in land and house harder to steal. Agreed. Alfonso says, I definitely want to put this out there, though. Jamaica still remains one of the best financial systems in the region. To all my brothers and sisters here and the diaspora, don't let this discourage you. Nope, I agree. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. It has not. I would say like my personal feeling is like it has not deterred me from say not investing in Jamaica, or like I still am going like despite this like it's definitely shed light on weaknesses within the system, and I get that, and I'm also sorry for the people who are facing these consequences of these corrupt people, both included. However, as is, even in this day, like I'm thinking, like me personally, like I'm still looking forward very much so to invest in the Jamaican economy and to invest in great companies, and to and still work with my financial advisor, who is Cleopatra Powell. Like, there's no question. Like I'm still going to work with her, and still, even with somebody mentioned earlier the NCB scandal. It's when you look at the fundamentals of Jamaica, it's still good, but again, it remains to be seen how the government handles this is really going to set a precedent for future investors that may not be as vested as we are at this point in time and may not have been on this journey as long as we have. So just something that I am aware of, that and I am taking seriously from a wider perspective. Kay says, I check my account every day, make sure all $10,000 there. Absolutely. And Enron. Yep. Mentioned Enron earlier for sure. Ebony X, if people start taking out their money, it could be a big problem. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that, have like a run on the bank situation. We've studied, like, I've studied that in undergrad and grad, like especially in South American countries. And I'm sure you've heard of this before, where that usually happens where like you have this rampant inflation that happens out of nowhere, where the dollar of that country starts losing value at a precipitous pace. And you see people just going to the ATMs trying to take their money out and all this. And I believe that happened in Russia recently, as a matter of fact, where they just stopped ATM usage. They stop that in certain countries in South America when they have these run on the banks. And I know banks have policies in place, and also I think from a government standpoint that the banks have to have a certain percentage of cash on hand, like in their accounts, to say if a certain percentage of people want to come and make a full $10 million withdrawal or whatever it is, they have to have a certain percentage of that on hand. But yeah, that could definitely be a big problem. I don't think that we're there. I don't think it doesn't seem like we're anywhere close to that. But again, it remains to be seen. Like, let's get into the real weeds of exactly how this was done and who was involved and how high does this go. Alfonso says, from investment in Jamaica, I would say just have a broad portfolio of investments, and you almost can't go wrong with real estate in Jamaica. Potential still remains for strong investments. Totally agree with that. Rochelle Campbell says, I agree with Alfonso. Cash loses power, especially now with inflation, and my stocks and investments beat inflation. Hutchinson Johnson says, Throp Jamaica system is still very good from Albany, New York. Good to see you, Hutchinson Johnson. Yep. I agree. It's still a good system, and still a good place to invest money at this point in time. Inga Babe says, no system is perfect, but the government need to put laws in place in order to build back trust in the system. And that's what people want to see. Great point, Ingrid. That's what people want to see. They want to see somebody go to jail. They want to see multiple people go to jail. They want to see new laws and regulations put in place so that this does not happen again. So that nobody can do something like this again. And this will force financial institutions like SSL and others to put policies and systems in place to make sure that this doesn't happen. I hate to go down this path, but no, I'm not even going to go down this path. Not even going to say it. Next comment. Alfonso, so true. Cases, Alfonso, so true. As you slip and enter wrong password, Sagicor and JN Stock lock you out and send you a text message. Okay, that's what you kind of so what I was going to say is there's all of these. And I was talking to a fellow subscriber who's here staying on property, and they went through the process of opening their account with their investment account, and they just talk about how simple it is. It is simple to open these accounts, but it takes time, and parts of the process are arduous and seemingly antiquated, and it looks like it's put in place to mitigate against scamming and fraud. And you go through all these loops, and yet still stuff like this happens, and you just you're doing this to me? What's the point, right? And so it's just man, all these things are in place and stuff like this still happens, and you're watching me, but you're letting those millions of dollars get away, sort of thing. So these things need to be looked into. That's all I'll say on that. These things definitely need to be looked into. Kay says, I'm hearing more about bank bail insurance where they can block that. Put my money in land and house in J immediately, not staying foreign and dead for hungry. I agree. Jamaica is a very, very good place to invest in as far as real estate goes. Let me fix the camera. 1 sec. Eileen Watt says, sorry, Throp, Rwanda will be the African country I'll visit. It's the cleanest and most progressive African country. Going on vacation and seeing poor communities is offsetting to me. No, I hear you. I mean, we have that here in Jamaica. We have that 10 minutes down the road. It's just, if you go to Red Ground or Whitehall, you'll see extreme poverty right next to hotels like this. But I would say the difference between, and I said this before, with say a Jamaica and a South Africa, and then again, this is talking with South Africans, is like I do believe there is a future where there is not a red ground or white hole type situation in Jamaica. And there are things being put in place where the average Jamaican will feel the benefit of the rise of Jamaica as an economy and as a country. Whereas in South Africa, there seems to be more of a severe lack of hope, you know. And I'll also say it doesn't seem like the disparity is as grand or as great here in Jamaica as in South Africa. But as Kay saying here, like, you know, no matter where you go, you're going to see that. Unfortunately, you're going to see, you're going to see poverty, and you're going to see inequity. You're going to see huge wealth gaps. Aline says, seeing poverty on vacation is offsetting. I can see that in the inner cities in the USA or Jamaica. Poverty looks the same in every country. I see what you're saying. Some countries just hide it better. Like I went to Brazil. I want to say they hid it, but like they put it in certain sections. You know, we remember hearing the stories of during I believe it was the Olympics and also the World Cup, maybe. Definitely the Olympics, where like they blocked off you know, they put up these huge walls so you couldn't see into the favelas type thing and see the poverty that was happening. You know, that's a country that again the wealth concentration is just crazy, you know, and it's just not evenly dispersed. Ebony X says it's the Madison Avenue and Fifth Avenue of NYC. It's the well, I might be taking that out of context. Inga Baby says there's poverty in every country. Some countries are better at hiding it. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. All right, I think we're going to start wrapping up here. I got some preparation to do tomorrow, for tomorrow, I should say, that I got to get to. But this was a fun first live stream back. We'll be back again on Sunday. Content is coming. I guess we could talk about that now. We're slowly working on systematizing the way we do things. I thought we made a lot of progress in 2022 as far as Thought Media and this channel goes, but I hate being inconsistent with content, and that's what I would say was a theme of last year. And I really want to move beyond that and be able to bring consistent content on not only a regular basis, but on an everyday basis. And that's one of the things that I've been planning and putting together. And I am going to be working very hard on making a reality here on this channel. And that's really where my mindset is. And I guess next week I'll talk more about that and get more into detail about the future of the channel. And when I say future, I mean like the immediate future in the next few months, and what I'm working on and how I'm working to fix inconsistencies that we've been having here. And also to like, especially with an SSL situation, I would love to have been in a position to get into more detail and to really get into this and get information to you all and get information to this community about what's happening and get in the experts, but just not in that position right now in terms of how we're organized as a company. And I'm not afraid to say that because I know we'll get there eventually, and that's the direction that we're heading in and that I'm heading in. And I'm trying to make this into like a full-on business institution to get out information accurately and quickly and efficiently to you all. And that goes with the podcast, that goes with the live streams that we're doing here, and that goes with any posts that happen across all the platforms that are out there. And I'm very excited to be building a team that will allow this to happen. I see a great gap in the market as far as this information goes. And I think it's just so important that we are kept abreast and informed collectively as a community and collectively as people who have a vested interest in Jamaica and its future. As I talk about the hopefulness we have as a people, diaspora and locals alike, juxtaposed to that of people in South Africa who don't necessarily have that optimism of their country. And I feel very blessed and I'm so grateful that we do have that sort of outlook for Jamaica and for our country, and that we do have this community that believes so much in Jamaica and so much in its future. And so I want to do my part to further that and to just bring the realities of these situations like the SSLs. And, we are not afraid to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly of what is happening in our country. And to me, having these types of conversations on a regular basis and bringing these types of information to the table and not sweeping it under the carpet, that's how real changes happen. And that's how, to me, we further instill confidence in spite and in face of adversities, and in spite and in face of challenges that like this, of corruption that's happening in institutions like SSL. And with that, again, the mindset continues to be around formulating a way and systems to get this accurate, efficient content out consistently. And that's where I'll leave it. We'll talk more about that next week, and aiming to get more into this SSL situation as more information comes aboard. Don't have anything lined up as far as podcasts and release this week. Like I said, I'm going to be focusing more on the Paradise and the Vibe content that I have to get out. I'm contracted to them to get a lot of their content out this week, so that's going to be one of my main goals. And of course, onboarding new team players this week as well for Throp Media. And that's pretty much what we have going on. And we'll stay in touch. I'm going to be using the community page to share those videos that I talked about earlier. And thank you, everybody, for joining the live stream today. This was fun. So happy to be back. So happy to be hanging out with you all. I will let's go to the comments real quick as we close out. Donna Bryce says, glad to have you and the Sunday Lives back. Enjoy the rest of your day, Throp and everyone. Rochelle says, enjoy and keep safe. Monique says, see you soon at Travelers. Looking forward to seeing you, Monique, for sure. Ebony X says, listen to Andre Stevens on YouTube about SSL. Will do. I think I listened to some of it, but yeah, I'll take a listen. Jennifer says, have a great week, Throp and all. Donna Bryce says, enjoy the time there, Monique. And Alfonso says, okay, Throp, enjoy the rest of your day. Great discussion. Absolutely. And thank you for your contribution and insight as always, Alfonso. Really appreciate it. Take care, everyone. Everybody have a good rest of your Sunday. I will leave you with what is left of the Sunday beach scene here. I will adjust the camera for you all. Thank you all. I will see you next Sunday. Not sure if it's the same time, but definitely the same place. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.